Have you ever experienced coaching yourself and thought, oh my word, I wish I had this earlier? I wish I had these tools, these solutions earlier in my life. And then as a coach, you think, how do I get to my ideal clients sooner? How do we teach our young people sooner, more? Ambitious goals, my friend. Recently, I was at a networking meeting, and in a different breakout room than mine was one of my former clients. A shout out to Sandra Lee. What you shared in that networking room gave me this idea for the podcast. You said in that breakout room, you guys were all talking about how do we get to our clients before they hit the burnout phase? An interesting question and a good thing for coaches to ponder. I'd love to be able to paint you a picture and tell you my thoughts on that question. When I hear the word burnout, it immediately evokes this picture of a house on fire for me. And I thought, yeah, how do we get to them before their house is on fire? Let's talk about in terms of literal fire prevention first. If your house is on fire, you don't hesitate to call 911 thinking, does the fire department charge me when they come out? I mean, I'd probably have to put in an insurance claim for this. And I'm not sure I want to do that because that's going to raise my premiums. And I don't really want my You just call the fire department. Your house is on fire. There's an urgency that completely overlaps all the thought, the pondering, the what does it cost, the is this convenient for me, is this the right time? There's an urgency that is created. Now, if you have a little stove fire, there's an urgency. But you might think, yeah, fire extinguisher underneath the cabinet, uh, baking soda, put on the lid, whatever it is. There's an urgency when you see flames. Sometimes if you're in your house, this happens to me every once in a while, and you smell smoke, smell something. I live in a condo that's attached to other condos. We have wood stoves, people cook. Sometimes I smell smoke, but I'm not sure if it's coming from my place, if it's coming from my unit, if it's something that I need to act on immediately. But there's an urgency enough to get up, look around, investigate, follow the nose, go out into the hallway, make sure things are okay. And then you got your smoke detector. In some people's homes, right, like with a wood stove, smoke detector can go off if I have that wood stove door open a little too long. And you notice it, yep, right? You might even talk to it. Yep, it's okay. It's just my wood stove door. And then you fan it and you get it to go off because you know it's not an emergency at the moment. But it at least gets your attention to investigate. Okay. Let's think about this in terms of our clients. Why do we have smoke detectors in our homes? Because a certain amount of funding is dedicated to that kind of awareness. Commercials. I remember my son came home from school in like first or second grade and said, "We gotta test all our smoke detectors today. I learned how. Time to push the button." And so we checked all the batteries to make sure. There's a certain amount of awareness that is dedicated to that. But it's really not something that I've ever attended a class on. I've never paid money to attend a class to know whether or not my smoke detectors have batteries. I might watch a YouTube video that comes up for free as a commercial. When it comes to kitchen fire prevention, well, that you put a little bit more thought in. You think, I should probably have a fire extinguisher. I'm going to buy one. Oh, I didn't realize they were going to cost this, but it's important. Maybe you educate yourself on the difference between this type of fire and that type of fire so that you're able to. And then from the day that we are born, we're pounded into us, right? Not only stop, drop, and roll, but call 911 if there's a fire. And nothing could get in our way if our house was on fire of finding help. In terms of your clients, it's an interesting question to ask as to whether or not you can get to them before their house is on fire. When they're at burnout, maybe they just smell a little smoke. And that's the place that you're meeting them at. Maybe you're the smoke detector in their life that goes, if you have these symptoms, if you have this problem, there might be a fire brewing. And they assess. They go, no, it's just this job. It's just the next 2 months of this job. Or it's just this phase of life I'm in. I have young kids. I feel sleep deprived. I don't really think that I need coaching right now. They assess. They might even talk to you. Thank you, but I don't think that's for me. What do we need to get to them before burnout? I think it's two things. First of all, I think we need really great marketing, and we need to know at what phase we want to meet our clients in. So the marketing that you do, your house is on fire, is very different than the marketing you do of check your smoke detectors. Very different marketing. So know at what phase you're aiming for your clients. A lot of coaches will aim for multiple phases, right? So maybe let's take me, for example. Hi, coach. You're my ideal client. So I'm going to talk to you for just a second. You're listening to the podcast. This is my smoke detector. Pay attention. Pay attention to your marketing. For some of you who listen to the podcast, you book a connection and direction call, and you're like, it's time to launch. I need your help now. That is, the house is on fire. I can put out content here on my website, in my sales conversations, to attract and address both of you. Both you, the person who this is a smoke detector for, and you, the person who's like, I'm launching right now, and I am really freaking sick of doing marketing on my own and doing and redoing, and I'm tired of it not working, and I just need to get paid. I need to launch, and I need the launch to be lucrative. That's where Laura comes in. Laura, the launching lucrative coach. That was a lot of alliteration there, but you get the point. So your marketing might hit your clients at different phases. But now let's go back to Sandra Lee's question. Can we get to them before burnout? I think we can. And my question is, do we want to? Do you want to? How much money have you personally spent on smoke detectors and batteries for your home? $100? Couple $100? Over your lifetime? How much money do you spend on does a restaurant, right? Spend on a fire prevention system, thousands of dollars. And then they have to get it serviced every year. And then they have to get it cleaned every year. And they have to get it tested every year. Our condo association has an internal fire prevention system. And not only do we have to pay to install, but we have to pay monthly amounts and yearly amounts, have people come out and inspect it. It's probably a few $1,000s a year. But it's important to our community that we have this. We're kind of way out in the country. We really need first responders to know as quickly as possible. And some of the units aren't full-time units. It's important. The perception of importance raises the cost of your program. The perception of importance, the perception of how vital it is, the perception of how well you're going to do your job, the perception, and marketing, that's all perception. Your marketing will dictate whether or not people are going to pull out that credit card and go, 911, I don't care how much it costs, or whether they're going to go, I'd like to listen to your podcast and maybe attend a workshop. That's a low cost, a low entry fee into my world. Where do you want to meet your clients? And some of you are right now thinking, yeah, Laura, but some of my clients think that they just need a smoke alarm, and their smoke alarm keeps going off and they keep ignoring it. They keep going, oh, it's okay, I'll get to you when I can get to you. And really, they're in the phase where they already have a fire on their stove that they just keep ignoring. Right. So then your marketing has to show them that. Your marketing needs to evoke feelings and language and reasoning and explanations that show them they're not at a fan the smoke detector phase. They're at a go figure out what's on fire in your kitchen phase. Some people struggle with what they think of as pain point marketing. Friends, I'm never going to tell you that you have to poke the pain and make it burn and do all these scarcity pain-based marketing sales tactics. You do have to name the problem. If your neighbor's house had flames, you wouldn't walk up and be like, excuse me, I think maybe you should listen to your smoke detector. Wouldn't that be nice? Imagine a house that wasn't on fire. Imagine a house whose air was particle-free when breathing. That's what some of your marketing does right now. Do you want to get unstuck? Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed? If you had a room of 100 people who were parents and business owners and career-oriented, and you said, do you ever feel stuck or overwhelmed in your life? 100 hands would go up. That means your marketing's not good because you're not speaking to 100 out of 100. You need to speak to your ideal clients. That's a whole nother topic, my friend. That's the work only you can do. You need to dial in that problem and understand it. If you don't understand the fire you're putting out, then you can't speak to it in your marketing. That's why your marketing is like, I help high achieving women to make more income. They're like, yeah, I can do that too. I just work 5 more hours. Thanks. They don't understand. So while I'm not all about painful marketing. I am about naming the problem so clearly, the thing they're afraid of so clearly. I remember at one point my coach, and I was already in a coaching program with her, but I think I was not moving myself forward very well, not making the changes in my life that I knew I needed to make and she saw I needed to make. And she asked me this question. She said, imagine your life 5 years from now. Okay. Now imagine nothing's changed. And I started to weep. She found the pain. I was in a lot of pain. And I was like, no, that's unacceptable. And I started making changes. Can we get to them before burnout? We can. Maybe not with your thousands and thousands of dollar program. You might not get paid what you want to. Can you help them to see, oh, you should go investigate that smoke smell? We could investigate that smoke smell together. Yes, but only if you can name the pain by understanding the work, the unique work that only you can do. By doing that in your marketing, by creating that awareness, by having correct expectations for your programs. You're selling smoke alarms, they might not cost $10,000 a year. People might be unwilling to pay that. Realistic expectations, great marketing. And yeah, Sandra Lee, we can get to them before burnout. It takes clarity and the right words. Talk to you soon.